please send them to the chat box below. And don't forget to mention your name and your study before asking. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me invite Dr. M.D. Nazmul Islam for presenting his lecture. Dr. Islam, you have 25 minutes to speak, and I would like to remind you 5 minutes before your time is over. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christine Marnani. I think it's again my pleasure and also an honor to talk in a second session, and again to talk about Turkey and also to see that the facts and the reality and the relations, cooperation and engagement from the Turkey's perspective, and to share with you and especially the respectable academicians from the Defense University Indonesia and also students and also researchers from there and stakeholders from the particular university. It's really great honor from my side. So yeah, the topic is very clear, and I'm really again would like to thanks to Dr. Christine to give a good summary, like why Turkey want to move from, let's say, like not from the west to the east, but to some context, Turkey want to give really, really great importance to the Asia. So the fact is here, I mean, why Turkey want to make this kind of big initiative, and in their diplomatic history, the Anew is really a great initiative that we can say, like recently they took it and they are now working hard. I mean, like if anyone follow up the narratives of Turkey's foreign policy, and also follow up the foreign ministry's activities, apart from the movements related to, let's say, like the conflict in the region in Syria or Iraq, or Turkey's internal problems, or maybe external problems, or Russia-Ukraine war, Turkey-USA problem. I mean, apart from all of the issues, I mean, if we can keep those issues in one hand, and the other issues like let's give some importance on the issues like trade, or making a trade relations or engagement with rest of the world, not only focusing everything on the West or on the Europe, rather focus to the rest of the world, the important countries which are situated or which are located in the Asia. So that's what actually Turkey reimagined or redesigned their policy, redesigned their thoughts, like, okay, we have to take some real or actual initiatives. And now we are going to talk about that issue, that how and why and in what way Turkey is working, and Turkey is taking that opportunity to work with the Asian countries and to face the challenges maybe in future. So yes, in here, maybe, I mean, before jumping, show like the particular things, here I put one of our regular reports. I mean, actually we are doing it. It's a one observer. That's what we publish from our institute also. So from here, I mean, we also try to see the Asian countries, let's say like the South Asia, Southeast Asia, China, Russia, Central Asia, Far East Asia, and also let's say the Oceania. We want to see those countries from the view or from the observe of Turkey, like how Turkey want to see them and what is going on in there. So we normally in every 2 weeks publishing this kind of news, try to formalize, try to analyze the explanation, try to analyze the scenario from that particular region. So now come up to the fact, like what does it mean, the Anew Initiative, and why Turkey really wants seriously to take this kind of initiative. The first thing, actually, the initiative, it was inaugurated, or we can say like it was firstly founded and announced on 5th August 2019. I mean, like if we calculate the time, it was not so much long. I mean, just only 3 to 4 years before the pandemic, I mean, COVID-19, Turkey rechanged, or we can say the reshuffle their foreign policy and try to give a much more importance to Asia. And that's why they want to put their, Asia policy in their agenda. So they just make the name the Anew Initiative. And in that, it was announced in the 11th Ambassador Conference in Ankara, and it was announced by the Foreign Minister of Turkey, the Mevlut Çavuşoğlu. And now look at the inside definition of Anew Initiative. If we look to, or if we take the words from the Foreign Minister of Turkey, he was emphasizing or highlighting the fact, like, okay, Anew Initiative, the Turkey, they want to emphasize on the defense industry and also technological world, and also the cultural cooperation with the Turkey and Asian countries. So now the fact is here, what Turkey have and how Turkey will approach to the Asian countries. So now, in a future slide, we will also look on it. But there is some argument, even also from the foreign minister, or also foreign minister, when he's announced this fact, like Anew Initiative, he said, like, okay, Turkey is not making this policy and is not making this kind of initiative to shift their policy from the west to the east. No, they are not doing these things, but they are giving much more emphasizing on Asian countries. It's not something of Axis power or allied power forces from west to the east, but they want to give much more importance. They want to give much more value to the Asian countries. Let's come, to this simple map. Of course, when they firstly initiated this initiative, they give some importance from different kind of region. Like, for example, from the Central Asia, they want to give much more importance to the Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. Of course, we have to take note that most of the Central Asian countries are Turkic nations. And that's why, it has some kind of roots relations from the history and from the culture. So Turkey want to make it, or we can say that all those kind of relations from history to the now. And on the other hand, like, for example, South Asian countries, let's say Afghanistan, Pakistan, and also Bangladesh, Turkey want to make their relations from economy to trade. And also from the Southeast Asian nations, Turkey is giving, from the map, it's not showing the all countries, but basically from the Southeast Asian nations, like, let's say, like Indonesia, Malaysia, and also like Singapore, it has a huge importance for making a Turkish foreign policy or Turkey from the perspective or from the context of Turkey. And on the other hand, we of course know, like, in the Asia, there is really a new foreign policy ongoing, or we can say the new international politics or new political economy is ongoing. So what kind of political economy? There's two facts. It's very clear. From any international politics or international relations expert, who can simply say, like, okay, in the region, there is two kinds of alliances has been ongoing. The one is China-based. We can say, like, the China's dream or China's peaceful rise or harmonious society or whatever it is. The China-based or China-based rule-based world from the Chinese perspective, or we can say from the Chinese way of understanding Asia and the world. They say, like, Chinese Belt and Road Initiative or so. On the other hand, USA and her allies, for example, Japan or India, or we can say Australia or Japan, or also some Western countries, they have their own strategy in the region, let's say like the Indo-Pacific or Quad or AUKUS, those kind of strategy in the region. So Turkey want to see themselves not in a particular group's alliances, not in a China's alliances, neither in the US's alliances. Rather, they want to make their own position, let's say like to make their own middle grounds in there. So Turkey want to make like, okay, if we want to make our relations with Malaysia or Indonesia or Pakistan, we will make that policy from our perspectives, not from the Americans' perspective. There is interesting thing. The last semester, in a spring semester in our university, I had one course. I mean, it was like 6 months. I gave a lecture about Asia and Turkey, and also like the Indo-Pacific and Asia-Pacific strategy. And in give a effective relations with Kazakhstan. On the other hand, like let's say, like for example, in the South Asia, Turkey want to give or Turkey want to make their key countries in there, let's say like Pakistan. Of course, Turkey has a good relations and also good trade relations with Pakistan and security-based relations with Afghanistan. But Turkey want to make their key countries, let's say Pakistan. In the Southeast Asian countries, Turkey also want to make their key countries or key balanced relations with Indonesia. Of course, Turkey also wants to make their good relations with Malaysia and also Singapore and also Cambodia and Vietnam, but they also find out their key countries. And also in Oceania, Turkey want to make their good relations to Australia, and also in a Far East Asia, let's say like the Japan, South Korea, or those countries, Turkey want to make their real actual relations with South Korea, and of course it has some sort of historical relations. And also with Japan, Turkey want to give economic importance, or we can say trade relations. And in that way, Turkey want to give their policy for the Asian countries. So now let's come to the point, why Asia and Asia Pacific, or we can say the Indo-Pacific countries. Has a more than 30% relations of the trade volume with the Asian countries, including the China for Turkish trade relations with the region. And on the other hand, Turkey is now doing a free trade. I mean, like from 2013 to 2015, and finally 2017, Turkey forced it like to make the free trade agreements. And in that free trade agreements, Turkey made like we can say like the free trade relations with South Korea, Malaysia, and Singapore. So these are the basic countries. But now Turkey is thinking to make and to enlarge it. For example, Turkey is thinking to make a free and trade agreements with Indonesia, for example. And on the other hand, Turkey is making a list like designated target countries. So what does it mean, designated target countries from the Asia? So Turkey find out should be the key countries from the Asia to reduce the import and highly extend the export with the Asian countries. Let's say like, for example, Turkey want to make much more exports to China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Basically, these four countries, Turkey is importing so much products. So Turkey is wanting, or Turkey want to provide much more export products to these countries. So Turkey want to make this kind of designated 15 target countries in the Asia. So let's come to the point. We can say the Turkey as a trading state from the historical perspective, why and how it has been put himself or herself as a trading state. Of course, like if we want to talk like the history or also the fact, like how Turkey is a trading state, we have to take the first acknowledgement, let's say like the Soviet Union and the collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. Because when the end of the Cold War and the China-USA relations was enormously very fine, in that time, Turkey want to find themselves like, okay, we have to also put that opportunity to make the relations between East and West. And of course, from this time, like after the 1990 end of the Cold War, Turkey's many business groups, like say the Musiyat or Tursiyat, or also the different unions and member groups, especially the one of the top business council in here, I mean in Turkey, and also the Turkish Exports Assembly for Economic Relations Board. This is really, really important board in Turkey, especially in terms of trade relations with Asian countries, and also to make the trade policy under the disguise of the Foreign Ministry, and also the disguise of the Anew Initiative, and also the International Transportation Association, Turkish Construction Association, and also many business councils with specific countries. So Turkey making their policy in the Asia by utilizing this kind of tools and this kind of, let's say, like the groups which are locating inside Turkey and also that particular countries. And also, like we can say in the Asia and Asian Pacific countries, Turkey is trying to make their own regional markets, let's say regional policy for regional trade, regional strategy for regional supply chain. So these are the right strategy from the Turkish perspective, and Turkey want to do it in a chronological basis. And of course, like to make this kind of policy, Turkey is making many agreements with many countries, many protocols with many particular and concerned department or ministry. Even also the interesting thing is, for making this kind of business and trade relations, Turkey has even good protocols and agreements with North Korea. So let's come to the point, like how Turkey is shaping this initiative, especially that's under the disguise of Asia and Anew. There's the four things, I mean the four conceptual or theoretical way we have to understand the Turkish approach in the Asia and that particular areas. The first is about the conceptual setting. We have to understand the first way, what is the theoretical and conceptual understanding of Turkey's foreign policy. Of course, like we can explain it from many theories or theoretical understanding, like whether Turkey is making their foreign policy from realist perspective or constructivist perspective or structuralism or we can say liberal perspective. One thing we can say, like especially from the scholars from higher, they agreed in their literature of international relations to say like the Turkish foreign policy, when it comes to the Asian countries, is much more liberal foreign policy. Of course, the liberal and constructivist foreign policy. The first thing, why liberal? I mean, Turkey is not only focusing the Muslim countries in there, Turkey is also making their good relations with the non-Muslim and the secular countries, let's say like Singapore or Vietnam or South Korea, Japan. So Turkey is making a balance in terms of their foreign policy. I mean, it's much more, we can say like that they are making a balance with Muslim countries and also non-Muslim countries. And also in a micro settings, let's say like from the domestic macro settings and the external macro setting, there's a common things that what we see in a recent Turkish foreign policy. Even also in a yesterday session, I also say like what makes this kind of policy in a table, or we can say in a real field. These are actually the personality and the role variables. That's what we are habituated in international relations. And who are that personality and the role variables? So from the conceptual perspective, like micro, domestic, macro settings and external macro settings, the decision makers are the very influential role, influential level to play the roles to make that foreign policy. So who are influential person? The one is the leadership of the current government. So let's say like the leadership of the current political government or administration, and itself the president. Even also, I think the moderator or Dr. Christine also said in her initial speech about that issue, like the scenario, how it has been changed in a Turkey's political and external relations environment, and the role of the president himself, and how he make this kind of macro to micro relations with the different countries. Let's come to the other point, like what is Turkish goals to make the relations in Asian countries. It's a smart power strategy rather than soft power or hard power. Turkey is not particularly looking like, okay, we are particularly looking to sell the defense products. No, Turkey is making their own way of relations, let's say both sides. From the cultural relations, Turkey is trying to make a bridge by giving a scholarship, by helping to the poor people, by giving a humanitarian aid through their TICA, like one of the humanitarian aid agency, government agency from Turkey. And also Turkey is making like teaching language through the Yunus Emre. And also they have a many, let's say the TV series, let's say like Ertuğrul or those things. So Turkey is making some kind of bridge with the Asian countries. I mean, from the perspective of the soft power. And from the perspective of the hard power, we already discussed even also in the last lecture, I mean, in yesterday, the Turkish defense industry. So by utilizing that defense industry, Turkey also making a good hard power strategy with the Asian countries. So basically we can say that what Turkey is doing with the Asian countries under the Anew Initiative, it's basically the smart power strategy. So now look at what we country need to have to make the smart power strategy. The first thing is about is prepared goals and outcomes, available resources, the position and preferences of the targets of influence attempts, forms of power and behavior likely to succeed, and the probability of success. So if we take these 5 indicators, it's very clear, like the current situation, I mean, especially before the COVID-19 and in the time or during the COVID-19 and also after the COVID-19, it's very clear the whole package that was Turkey is offered to any countries. It's follow up these all indicators. And also the Turkish role in international flora, let's say like United Nations, G20, OECD, MICTA, D8, I'll come to the MICTA even also with more details information, and also developing aid where Indonesia also members, and also Malaysia, Bangladesh, Pakistan. I mean, from Asia, there are out of 8 countries, 4 countries are from the Asia. So Turkey is making a connections and making their bridge with this kind of international flora. And also Turkey is also member and observer of the APEC Asian, and I will come up with more details in a next slide. So Turkey is making their smart power strategy in that way, step by step. So now comes to the pillars of the Turkish Anew Initiative. I mean, if we look in here, I mean, you will see that there are 4 pillars. That's what Turkey is giving importance to make their relations with Asian countries. The first is interstate relations. It's very simple. I mean, from IR background, I mean, it's very, and also security and defense background, it's pretty clear, like for a state to make their poor relations and also cooperation and engagement with other states. And the second is also trade capacity. I mean, when we are making a specific initiative, let's say, like, let's take an example from China. China is making their Belt and Road Initiative. So it's a one initiative, but when we are jumping or we are going deep into the Belt and Road Initiative, then we understand it is not simply say like an initiative or a project. It is much more that. I mean, it has a many vast influence, or we can say vast policy to make China's foreign policy in an international level. The same way, of course, the Turkey's Anew Initiative is in a very, we can say in a very initial level, but in future, I believe like it will be much, I mean, it will be something giant like Belt and Road Initiatives, especially in terms of Turkish trade, to increase the Turkey's trade capacity. The third pillar is about academic cooperation. For example, even also now look, I mean, in here, I mean, I'm talking in here, I'm working in a Turkish, and also you are listening, and also the academicians from Indonesia, students from Indonesia are trying to make a good cooperation. Of course, it's not a formal things from the government perspective, but it still is a part of the Anew Initiative. Why? I mean, like if I ask even also the students in here, why you are interested to know about Turkey? Because of the Turkey's role in international level, because of the Turkey's policy about or in the engagement of Asian countries or any issues in the Middle East or region, or also international flora. So that's the way you want to engage. You want to know more about the Turkish politics. You want to know about Turkish role in international politics. So this is also one of the part of the Anew Initiative to make the academic cooperation. And the final things is about society to society relations, or we can say the interaction between Turkish society to the Asian or particular country society. Now come to the point, what are the diplomatic representation of Turkey in Asian countries? I mean, one thing I have to give information, Turkey enormously changed their policy from 2002. I mean, till now, Turkey has more than 253 consulates and embassy in all over the world. And it is one of the 5th largest embassies and consulates to make their effective policy in abroad. One thing I have to mention in here, when we are talking about the engagement or cooperation, we have to take note that any countries to make an effective foreign relations, effective foreign policy, they must have their official engagement with that particular countries. So in that case, Turkey, with their 253 embassies and consulates, they are very clear, what they have their capacity. If we calculate the 5 countries in the world, Turkey is also one of the countries who are continuously making their cooperation, engagement, relations, cooperation with other countries. And in the case of Asia, I mean, if you look in here, you will see the slides. Since 2010, Turkey opened a new embassies in Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos. Even those particular countries, for example, Cambodia opened their embassies in Turkey, I mean, in Ankara, just in a couple of months ago. So it means Turkey is making or giving importance to that particular countries, and also that particular countries also giving importance to open their cooperation engagement in Turkey. And also from 2013, Turkey is also observant in a Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is also one of the part Turkey is particularly added with the countries from the Asia. And one of the important point, I mean, who have to take note to understand the Turkey's role in the Asian countries, that is MICTA. MICTA is informal groups, actually. Let's say the MICTA, who are those member countries like Indonesia, South Korea, Australia, and Mexico and Turkey. So these 5 countries, they are basically emphasizing on the trade to make their relations in a much more effective level. So this MICTA has also very influential role to come up with the Asian, or we can say Asia Pacific countries. And also if we take the ASEAN or APEC, as I said, Turkey also give their importance to make their Asian Anew policy more effectively. In here, it is trying to show the why Turkey need to change their policy in the Asia. I mean, it's just something like Asians share of Turkey's foreign trade. If you look, I mean, still it's a very, very low level. I mean, the yellow color in the map, I mean, in the graph, you will see from 2000 to 2018, this is true, it increased, but in terms of Turkey's global trade relation, it is still very low. So Turkey want to give much more emphasis their projects, their initiative Asia Anew, try to emphasize the trade relations much more effectively. I'm sorry. So now come up the fact why again Turkey is giving this kind of relations, because it's very clear the world is shifting from west to east, and also the other thing is that the world's one of the third population are in the Asia Pacific regions, and also it is very clear within 2014 to 2015 the half of the global trade products will be from the Asia. And also it is also another point that has to be mentioned in here, that the volume of the trade or products is increased in the Asian countries. So Turkey need to have their specific policy with the Asian countries to put their position, to have their position with those particular countries. For example,
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I'm afraid we just have 5 more minutes.
Okay, thank you so
Sorry
much.
about
I will
that.
try my best to finish, come up with the conclusion. So here, I mean, we have to take note. I mean, Turkey, they are trying to make this kind of cooperation because they are very clear in future, they need to have a very complete and very clear policy to make the relation with Asian countries. And while the other countries, let's say Germany has an Indo-Pacific strategy, France has an Indo-Pacific strategy, America has an Indo-Pacific strategy, and also many other European countries have very specific Indo-Pacific strategy. Some countries are emphasizing on security, some countries are emphasizing on trade. But Turkey also want to make the relations with Asian Pacific countries from the both perspective. Like, for example, if we take the Afghanistan as a case study, Turkey want to emphasize on security. But if you take a case study from the trade perspective, I mean, let's say like from Southeast Asian nations, Turkey want to give importance on the trade. So now let's come here, I mean, to see the volume, I mean, what Turkey is making the export and import relations with Asian countries. Maybe I'll go to the much more discussion, maybe in the question, answer and questions period. Now come to the academic cooperations. I mean, in academic cooperation, I mean, the one thing we have to take a note, like the international students in Turkey. So for example, like if we take the recent data, like 2017 to 2018, you will see like the more than 200,000 students are now studying in Turkey with scholarships. For example, of course, like most of the countries are from Turkish neighborhood, but it's still like Turkey is giving a good scholarship through their government institutes to the many Asian countries. And in here, you will see like the more than 20,000 Syrian students are getting scholarship to study in Turkey. And accordingly, like the Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, or we can say even Germany, German students also getting a huge scholarship from Turkey. So let's come to the lucrative positions what Turkey is offering for Asian countries. Of course, we know that the trade relations between two countries or between multi countries is very, I mean, very normal for external relations. But Turkey has a lucrative regional markets because of their defense products. As we talk even also yesterday, like Turkey's defense products are giving a much more highlights to the Asian countries to make an engagement, to make cooperation with Turkey. So now it's in here, I mean, what Turkey's foreign minister or foreign policy want to make. The one dialogue or motto Turkey is giving importance to make their Asia Anew Initiative. That is strong diplomacy on the ground and at the table. So on the ground, Turkey want to make a good diplomacy, and also in the table, at the table, Turkey want to make a good negotiation with any partners and allied countries. So now come up to the point, I mean, some case studies. In here, the first case study I took the Indonesia, like under Asia Anew Initiative, from Turkey's perspective, what Turkey is trying to do with particular countries from the Asia. In Indonesia, if we look, I mean, from the recent times, let's like from the 2014, Turkey is trying to sell or trying to make their good trade relations in terms of defense cooperation, try to sell like midweight class tank mass production. Even also you can see from the background, the Kaplan MT, I mean, this is the one of the tank that was Turkey sold to Indonesia. And also Turkey is making some joint cooperation to produce some specific artillery and weapons, and also the tanks, and also under the project, let's say advanced combat management system. Turkey is making this kind of relations with Indonesia that was also provided by the Havelsan. It is one of the most prestigious defense industry in Turkey. And also Turkey is also giving the, like, you know, the one of the jammer, like countermeasure jammers to Indonesia, especially for the Indonesian naval forces. And also like 30 millimeter, the Muafis remote controller established gun system that was also Turkey provided to the Indonesian Coast Guard. I mean, like to have a good trade and also cooperation with Indonesia. And also if we look to the economic calculation, let's say like in 2019, the calculation, it shows like before the years, the Turkey and Indonesia's, let's say like the in export relation was like $377,000, but it has been increased now more than $27 million. So it's very clear within 1 year, the increase between the two countries' defense or also trade relations. And also the some statistics, it shows like in 2022, the increase rate will be 361%. So it's very clear like how Turkey is making their relations with the particular countries under the disguise of Asia Anew Initiative. And in the case case of Malaysia, Turkey also provided specific, let's say, weapons and tanks to the Malaysian counterpart. For example, one of the important things, the Asst, this is the one of the Turkey's most prestigious defense industry, and Turkey also making one branch in Malaysia to develop different kinds of tanks and weapons in that particular countries. So this is also the one of the best things. And also by looking at the trade statistics, it shows like the relations between the Malaysia and the Turkey, it has been increased more than 34%. Even also in 2022, it will be increased a much more level in a capacity of the trade volume. And now in the Philippines, I mean, like we can say, like recently, like a couple of months ago, Turkey provided the attack helicopters. Maybe you can see in the layout of my slides. These are the attack helicopters. Turkey provided 6 attack helicopters to the Philippines, and also Turkey is trying to make a good engagement and cooperation to provide more attack helicopters to the particular countries. And in the case of Bangladesh, maybe you can see that this kind of vehicles like Cobra, Turkey also providing to the Bangladesh, and also regularly they are providing military training to the Bangladeshi military officers. And also in the case of, let's say, Pakistan, Turkey is also trying to make a drones, and especially the drones you are seeing in here. I mean, the next or 5th generation is still drones. Turkey is trying to produce with the Pakistan. So
sorry, sir. Excuse me. I have to say that your time is up. Could you please, because the title, the topic of this lecture is about opportunities and challenges. Please, we directly go to that phase. So I'm afraid we cannot get the main topic for this. Sorry about that. Okay, I give you some more times. Some more minutes.
Thank you so much. I mean, Dr. Christine, I mean, it's your kindness. I was just I was thinking because I feel a little bit sorry if I cannot share, I mean, the opinion here really, I mean, what Turkey is trying to do with the Asian countries. And that's why I'm just trying to say, like, okay, the particular countries, the case study, and I really do not want to miss that point to share with my dear friends and colleagues and also students from the Indonesian Defense University. I hope they will have a much more questions than I can try to find out and try to put the importance points from the slides and from my own experience. Anyway, I mean, like, of course, like I try to finish up and we try to make it the final conclusion by saying like that the Turkish Anew Initiative is a good opportunity from Turkey and also from the Asian partners. Let's say like the Asian countries, especially China has their Belt and Road Initiative, and also that Japan has their free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. India has their Indo-Pacific and also the Neighborhood Watchmen Act, its policy, and also ASEAN countries, different economic and trade module, and also the Asian cooperation dialogue. So by all kind of manners, this initiative will be much more fruitful and much more effective to find out the results and consequences in a positive way. And of course, like in here, I try to go up the last lecture to show like what will be the in a future visions to do a business and also trade from Turkish perspective to the Asian countries, like what Turkey is trying to do in a current times, and also like in the next 5 years projects, for example, let's say like this kind of weapons and tanks and also drones, and also steel weapons. So these kind of weapons could be a good options from Asian countries to make a joint cooperations. It's not just something like, okay, I need to buy these kind of things from Turkey. No, there is options to make or to be a partners to jointly produce this kind of products. So I think that the particular countries, let's take an example of Indonesia, they can be part of the projects and they can produce this kind of, let's say, the important things like space materials or artillery things, tanks or drones. They can produce together and to be a partner under the Anew Initiative. So thank you so much to my this conference organizer and also the moderator and also the university authority and also the students. I hope like you have of course you have questions, and I would love to give your answers by taking your questions and my answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Please give a big applause to Dr. Islam. Thank you very much. That was a very detailed and an outstanding presentation. Thank you very much. I'm sure that the student got a lot of information and also the insight, but to gain more insight, please allow us to dig more in from yourself. Okay, now I think we go to the next session is the Q&A session. I have 40 minutes for students for asking what do they want to know about this lecture. Okay, maybe some of you may raise your hand, or maybe you may also write down from the to the chat box. Okay, maybe we have to wait some more minutes.
Yang raise hand dulu itu.
Nggak ada?
Ada.
Mana?
Berita.
Oke. Oh, yang di bawah ya. Oke. Oke, I think I see Prita. Prita, you have question to Dr. Islam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the time is yours.
Thank you for the Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon from Jakarta. My name is Prita Nurwahyu. I am master student of Defense Management Faculty, and my question is: diplomatic relation between Indonesia and Turkey have existed since the time of the Ottoman Empire with the Sultan of Aceh. Currently, is there a planned agenda for cooperation in the defense sector, especially the transfer of defense equipment technology? In your opinion, geostrategically and geopolitically, what kind of defense equipment is important to develop in Indonesia? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, moderate, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Prita, for the question. I think Dr. Islam, you got the the question, right?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Christina. Yeah, again, thank you, Prita. I mean, it's a very good questions to find out the real things to find out the cooperation between Indonesia and Turkey. There is one thing. I mean, we have to take notes. I mean, when we're talking about the defense cooperation, of course, the first thing it basically comes from the government to government. Even most of the time, the defense cooperation, because you are studying at the defense university, and I hope you know the the critical things about the defense cooperation and the defense engagement with any countries. And most of the time, the defense cooperation, what we are seeing in a daylight, it's not in a real, in a background, it's much more deep. So it means like that there are much more good and close cooperation between two countries, rather what we are seeing in a daylight or in a academic textbooks. So what I mean the meaning is like, you know, that there is some example, of course, when I was talking about the case study of the Turkey and Indonesia's relation in terms of the defense and also in terms of making a defense trade relations. You already see like the Turkey is also making doing some kind of let's say like some exports from Turkey, like tanks and also some specific parts to provide to Indonesia. Apart from this issue, yeah, of course, as you said, like, okay, what kind of cooperation Turkey can make? You know, this, as I said, like, I had one whole semester that I designed only for that issue. I mean, like Turkey's Asia and Indo-Pacific strategy, and also Turkey's Asia Anew Initiative. And in there, I give some works to my PhD students to do like some kind of policy, let's say like short-term policy, mid, and also long-term policy. So in that short-term policy, there was a really interesting thing I can tell you, like, for example, like if a country want to make a good cooperation or good relations with other countries, they have to basically have a very simple protocols relations. They have to have a very easy cooperations. For example, let's say like the not Indonesia, let's take Malaysia. What they're trying to do, they're trying to do a branch of the Turkish defense industry to open in Malaysia. They say the Asst. This is one of the really giant industry, defense industry in Turkey. Even if you look to the any tanks or weapons and drones, even if you search in internet, you will find most of the products is produced by the Asst or Havelsan, or we can say like the Bayraktar. So these are the actually giant defense industry in here. So what Malaysia is trying to do, they will also open a branch in Malaysia. And what is their target? To open a cooperative way, to open a new weapons or new military technology in their own homeland. So this is how it was happened, because of the protocols, because of the agreements with the particular countries. So in the case of Indonesia, if I say like, okay, is there any agreements or is there any things is ongoing? Of course, there is many agreements and protocols and also many cooperative ways the Indonesian counterpart and also Turkey is talking about to develop this kind of relations. But I can say like for the mid and long-term level, Indonesia also think like, okay, to make effective cooperation to build up, let's say like defense industry in Indonesia, the first thing, and also to make a joint production. So joint productions means like, okay, jointly produce the drones, jointly produce the tanks, jointly produce the attack helicopters. So one thing, I mean, like when our countries, for example, in the case of Pakistan, they were trying to build up like some kind of, fifth generation drones, stealth planes, and also like some kind of products. But there is some international pressure when they are trying to do such kind of things with Pakistan and Turkey. For example, that still like Turkey is not fully independent to develop or to do such kind of defense products. So they are solely dependent on Western countries. Let's say like for the drones, somehow, I mean, in the previous time, like 2-3 years ago, they were dependent to buy camera from Canada. But when Turkey, let's say like to did their operation in Syria, then Canada secretly or closely give an embargo sanction on Turkey. They said like, okay, we'll not sell the camera which are using for the drones, will not sell to Turkey. And for the case of Pakistan and Turkey, Turkey was supposed to develop the attack helicopters joint with Pakistan. But some parts of the attack helicopter, it was especially like, I can say the motors and engines, it was taken from the US. Then US said, no, you do not have license to produce jointly this kind of weapons or mechanism or helicopters. So they just give an embargo and suddenly the project was stopped. So these are the challenges. I mean, like, I know like, okay, when I say like, okay, Indonesia can do such kind of things, but it's not easy actually process. Indonesia cannot even do such kind of things because there is some kind of international pressures. But Indonesia can think about it. Indonesia can think like, okay, that they need to be a part in the projects, like, okay, 5 years projects, 30 years projects, 100 years projects, 500 years project. So in that way, it can have it can see the real face, or we can say that the real effectivity in terms of defense relations. So that's what I can share with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Prita ya, sudah ya. Okay, now let's go next to the question from the chat. I think we have Freddy Mulyansa from management, okay, defense management. Freddy, could you read please your question?
Thanks, ma'am. Good afternoon from Jakarta. Assalamualaikum, sir. Thanks for great presentation.
Okay.
My name is Freddy. I am from Defense Management.
Make it shorter. Make it shorten.
Yeah. Turkey's support in G20 presidency has a positive impact on Indonesia. The G20 presidency carries the slogan "Recover Together, Recover Stronger." Will face obstacles because the Russia-Ukraine war has an impact on the global economy, especially in Asia-Pacific countries. A recent study from the Economic Intelligence Unit said that Asia Pacific countries were worst affected by a Russia-Ukraine war. The domino effect of the war between Russia and Ukraine occurred in several sectors such as high food prices, availability of energy, tourism, and weapons. This will certainly affect the Turkey Asia New Initiative policy. My question is how Turkey sees this as an opportunity and a challenge from the Turkey Asia New Initiative policy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Freddy. Okay, sir, your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, this is a really good point to find out that the real incident that is going on in Russia and Ukraine war, or impact on Russia and Ukraine war. The first thing, actually, no countries, I mean, it's not about the Turkey, I mean, or whatever, I mean, just put US or UK or Germany or France or China. I mean, every countries are affected somehow by this war and also the global pandemic. I mean, no countries can deny, like, okay, that they will be normal. I mean, their projects and cooperation or engagement will be normal after the war or also because of the war. So one thing we have to take, okay, that there will have an impact. There will have some kind of impact that will have a impact on every policy. I mean, particularly even Turkey, like let's say the economy or trade, or also the initiative like Asia Anew. So now, we have to take note, like every problems, or we can say that every kind of impediments or obstacles has opportunities. So for example, now we are seeing that the problems in Russia and Ukraine. And you know this, as you asked, like, okay, what would be the Asia Anew Initiative? So for example, let's take a simple, like the Russia and Ukraine war. It is very clear, like when we're seeing from the Western perspective, how they are cooperating with the Ukraine, and also how they are helping their hand for the Ukraine. I mean, as a normal person, forget about as an academician, as a researcher, or as a defense expert, or whatever it is. I mean, as a normal person, I mean, if you want to say, like, okay, there were many wars we have seen till now, like the Syrian war, Afghanistan war. I mean, we never saw this kind of, or Libyan war even. We never saw this kind of help from the Western countries. So it is very clear, I mean, the Western countries, they show to the whole world, like, which and what are their main priority. This is the one thing. So now, so what would be the benefit for Turkey about, I mean, by taking such kind of case study? Now comes to the point. I mean, after the war, let's say that the Russian-Ukraine war, as I said, there will have an impact. But on the other hand, there will have opportunity, because every country, especially the non-Western world, I'm basically working on the non-Western international theory and also soft power strategy. So that's why I can tell you in a very effective way, this would be the actual great opportunity for the other world or rest of the world to make their cooperation for their own purpose, or for their own goals, for their own interests. Because it's very clear, like when they will be affected, they will not get any help, they will not get any assistance, especially in terms of defense from the Western countries. They may have some kind of humanitarian aid, or they may have some kind of economic assistance, but they will not have any kind of defense assistance from that particular countries, especially in the case study of the Russia and Ukraine war. I mean, I can tell you, like, okay, I'm not supporting what Russia is doing in Ukraine. Of course, it's against humanity. It's totally, I mean, like, say the occupation in there, but it is showing us, like, in the future world, there will have a different world. There will have a different cooperation and engagement. Every country, whatever it is, let's say, like, okay, we have a $100, but because of the war, because of the pandemic, it is now $50. But within that $50, every country, whatever it is, Indonesia or Malaysia or Bangladesh or Pakistan or we can say Singapore, every country will invest that $50 for their country's interest. So for example, like before the war, it was $100, but some countries just invest $80 for, not for the defense, but for the other issues. But after the war, they will invest the $50, let's say $48 only for investment. Yeah, there is some gap, economic gap within these dollars, but still our countries will know who are their enemies and who are their the friends. And now the question is about, like, okay, Turkey of course, they will have some impact, but still they will have many partners who will depend on Turkey. For example, let's take even also Russia and Ukraine war. Maybe you already see that in many social medias, on the internet and news, even also from the Western media's news, it is very clear like Turkey's, like said, drone diplomacy or drone technology. It has a really, really great, let's say like great support and great engagement in the case of Russia and Ukraine war. Even also the Western countries, let's say Lithuania and also like Luxembourg, they are collecting money to buy the Bayraktar TB2 to provide to the Ukraine people. Even this yesterday, I can share you that the new news, like yesterday, the Bayraktar's defense industries owner, the Mr. Bayraktar, I mean, his name is also Bayraktar, he announced to provide 3 more TB2 to the Ukrainian government. Why? Because the Ukrainian general people, they collect money to buy the TB2. So this is the, this in one way, it is one of the soft power influence of Turkey to the Ukrainian people, because the people himself and herself themselves, they are collecting, they are gathering money to buy the Turkish or Turkey's drone. This is a soft power. On the other hand, they are making a huge influence for like Turkey's defense to show to the world like how much capability, how much capacity Turkey has. So this is the one way, I mean, as I say, like Turkey's smart power is strategy in the region. So after mid of the conflict, I can say like, okay, Turkey may have some impact on the food security or food issues, but Turkey's defense sector will be bloomed, will be in a level, and that way Turkey can do much more works, just much more cooperation, much more joint production with their allied, or we can say partner countries. Let's say like Indonesia, because Indonesia will trust Turkey more even before the Russian-Ukraine war. So after Russian-Ukraine war, Indonesia or any other countries, they will think, okay, we have to choose our friends very effectively and also very concernedly. And by that way, I believe like Turkey will get much more audience, much more trust to their partners and friends.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for the answer. I think Freddy, you got the answer, right? Okay, now we go to Nanang Heri for Nanang. You have one question, right? Okay, Nanang, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. How is the role and support of the Turkish government for Turkish defense industry? That's why reaching a wide market from Pakistan to South Korea, from Kyrgyzstan to Azerbaijan and Ukraine, Turkish defense industry products have gained the advantage of proving themselves and presenting their proven competent to international cycle, especially by using them in the operation carried out by these countries. Thank you.
You got the question?
I think like you want to just you are asking me like how Turkey is doing such kind of policy to make a relations with those particular countries. Am I right?
Nanang, is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
You
Yes,
asking
sir.
about the role?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here, the Turkey has, as I said in my initial lectures, Turkey is making some kind of key countries in the region. For example, let's say like in the Central Asia, Turkey, I mean, Central Asia may have more than 10 countries or 15 countries, whatever it is. Turkey is giving importance to have a good relations or good engagement with their key countries, let's say Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan, those countries. In the South Asia, Turkey also make their good relations with their key countries, let's say Bangladesh or Pakistan or Afghanistan. And also in a Far East Asia, let's say South Korea, Japan, and also in a Southeast Asia, let's say like Indonesia, Malaysia. So these are the Turkey's like, key policy to make their key engagement in those particular region. So now comes to the questions like, okay, is Turkey really, following of the same policy for every country or each country? I mean, it is absolutely, no. No, Turkey is not doing, like, for example, maybe with Indonesia, Turkey is focusing to develop, let's say like the Kaplan tank, But in the case of Pakistan, Turkey is emphasizing on nuclear, or let's say like submarines. In the case of Malaysia, Turkey is focusing on the drones. In the case of Kazakhstan, Turkey is focusing on the simple food products. So it is actually depend like, okay, countries demand, and also Turkey as a country, their supply. I mean, it's very very simple economic theory. I mean, we can say that supply and demand. For example, our country's real need from Turkey. So for example, of course, like it is coming from that respectable countries or particular countries, what they want from Turkey and how they want it. So for example, the ones from Kyrgyzstan and the ones from Pakistan is not always same. For example, in the case of trade volume relation with Pakistan, in the South Asian case, it is very less. I mean, it's just only $800 million. And it's not actually super. Even also with India, it is much more bigger. I mean, more than $1 billion. But when it comes to the strategic cooperation, we can easily say like Turkey and Pakistan has much more strategic cooperation, much more strategic relations. Even also we can say like in the case of Azerbaijan war, we have seen like the Turkey, Pakistan, and Azerbaijan has a really more strategic relations. And also, I mean, like if we take any other countries, let's say like the maybe to obtain brands like in different industry brands in Malaysia, it's much more easier to open a defense industry brands, let's say in South Korea maybe, or maybe in Japan. So this is a really, I mean, like some kind of tools from the Turkish mentality or Turkey's defense industries mentality, and also the particular country's psychology is working before making any kind of effective policy. So I mean, it's depend on a particular countries. I think I hope you got my point.
Nanang?
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. It is answered. Then now I think we still have time. So, okay, someone raised hand. Okay, Yusuf, yeah. Yusuf, you have a question? Okay, your turn.
Excuse me, madam and sir.
Could you raise your voice?
Yeah, thank you. Mrs. Christine, that give me a chance to ask about some question to Mr. Nazmul. That very good.
One question only, please.
Sure.
I will ask another person as well. Okay, one question, right?
Okay, very good explanation from you, Mr. Nazmul, and the good answer from the last three questions that the student gave to you. And maybe my question is little similar with the last two questions, that you say that how Turkey facing the opportunities and the challenges in commercial aspect to make the improvement in the economic aspect. And you said that through the partnership, like you said that Turkey makes the policy with another country and make some country as a key country to make the trade between Turkey and another country and last for a long time. Yeah. And last for a long time, especially with ASEAN countries. And I want to know that what is the big obstacle that Turkey is facing to implement this policy well in the internal politics or Turkey international relation, and what is the threat if the policy is not implemented well? Because we have to realize that there is obstacle and threat well the policy is not good implemented. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. You got the point, right, sir?
Yeah, thank you.
Asking about the
and
change.
thank you, Mr. Yusuf. It's also, I mean, like very critical questions, I think so. The fact is, the Turkey, when we're talking about the relations, when I'm trying to emphasize on the key countries, what I mean actually, in a trade relations, I mean, it's not important to have a key countries, because our country want to make a trade relations with every countries. There is no obstacle. There is no way. They want to make, I mean, they want to sell even also, let's say the Apple. They want to sell this Apple to other countries. It is a motto of every countries. They want to produce something and they want to sell it. So they do not have any problems, especially by taking this kind of case or example. But now comes to the key actually. What does it mean? It's actually strategic key countries. So for example, Turkey is trying to find out the strategic countries from the every region. So now comes to the obstacles. Of course, like from very general issue, we can say like for every country, there is some kind of, challenges and obstacles and problems for making their policy in an effective level. Now come up to the trade policy, especially there is a 2 points I'm trying to highlight in the lecture, because as I'm trying to give this lecture for defense university students, that's why I'm taking, so many examples from the defense backgrounds, rather than to take like, in general exports or in general trade products. So now come up to the in general trade products. In general trade products, this in terms of capacity. So, yes, recently Turkey has good capacity in terms of defense products, but in terms of trade products, Turkey should have that much capacity to sell their products to the, let's say to the Indonesia, for example. For example, like to Indonesia want to buy Apple, let's say from China or Turkey. So it is very simple because they will buy from China because it's much more, let's say like cheap. Even also in terms of like any electronic products or anything, because in Turkey as a part of the European countries in terms of trade barrier, they have many issues like say tax issues. They do not have like say free trade agreement with Indonesia, and also many kind of policy that is not much more easy for Turkey to sell their in general products to Indonesia or Malaysia or any other countries. So in that case, those particular countries, they will go to the more cheaper to sell or to buy the products from that countries. And we know this, that China is really giant in this kind of sector, especially in a very general sectors. Now come up to the trade defense issues. It is very very old to mentioning or to mentioning to say about the Turkish drones, for example. Turkish drones, in compare with the other countries' drones, especially the 3 countries are capable to produce the same drones what Turkey had. For example, USA, UK, and Israel. That's a textbook example. So now come up to the Turkey. Turkey's drone is much more cheaper. So let's say like in the case, in compare with the Americans' drones, maybe someone can ask like, okay, is America produce the same kind of drones? Of course they are producing, also much more prestigious drones, or maybe like UK also producing the drones, even also the Israel. So now come up to the questions like Turkey's drones is cheaper in terms of their effectivity, capability, and capacity. So that's the way our countries, let's say like our third countries or any other countries from Asia or Africa or Europe even, let's say that Poland was the first recipient of the Turkish drones, and why they bought the Turkish drone? Because it's effective, it's capable, it has a good capacity, and it's cheaper. Because the same price, let's say that one drone is more than $10 million. If you want to buy the same features drones from US or from UK, you have to give double price, let's say that $20 million. So a country, they will go to the cheaper price and more effective.
Yes,
and
sure.
show the more effectivity, because Turkey's drone is, it's already effective by showing their effectivity in the field level, in the war level. The Turkish drone, they already involved in 3 wars, in a Libyan war, in an Azerbaijan war, in a Syrian war, and also now in a Ukraine war. And it's very clear, like in Azerbaijan, for example, they destroyed Su-24, even also the many, we can say the main weapons, artillery systems that was developed by the Russia. And that's the way Turkey established their capability of their drones. And also in Syria, they also established, let's say like the terror groups, let's say PKK or also the ISIS, they somehow managed to get some kind of weapons from the West, from Europe or from even USA. Let's say the YPG, they got the more sophisticated weapons from the USA. But still, Turkey's drone, they are capable to destroy weapons. And also in the Ukraine and Russia's war, we already see that many kinds of, the Russia's weapons, especially tank and artillery, was destroyed and were destroyed by the Turkish drone. So these are the we can say the good marketing for the Turkey's defense industry, because it's effective and it's already, like every people already got the proved like, okay, it's effective and it's a cheap. So that's why they want to buy this in. And these are the, we can say the simple economic theory. And that's the way Turkey can future. That's what I believe.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Time flies so fast. So I think I have to allow one more question, but it's very short question and answer maybe also short. I have to say it's short answer. I think Wirandita, yeah, you already raised your hand. Okay, time is yours. Short question.
Listen my voice?
Mhm.
Yes, actually, I would like to propose two questions, but I would make it short due to the time limit.
Yes.
Yes. The first question I would like to ask in related to current topic. At the first time, everyone, when they are read the topic session, maybe they started thinking about, is there an excessive in the Turkish foreign policy? But it's actually not. Turkey aims to establish stronger ties with Asian countries through the framework of Anew Initiative. But this new initiative is not an excessive in Turkey foreign policy, but the dynamic of strategic environment like what happened in East Europe.
Maybe you directly go to the question. Wirandita? Wirandita?
Yes.
Directly to the question.
Okay,
please.
okay. I already delivered the question.
You got it? Okay, sir, you got it? You got the question, the point.
No.
No.
No, I didn't get it. Actually.
Oke, sedikit aja pertanyaannya, singkat.
Yeah. My main question is, how do you perceive the vision of Turkey foreign policy, especially toward Asia, related to the dynamic of strategic environment that happened lately, recently, as I can say, is what happened in Ukraine, on Indo-Pacific, like that.
Okay. So your time now.
Dr. Christine, could you please? I mean, I think I missed the questions. I mean, could you please just repeat it? What entity he's trying to ask?
You asking about for Turkey pursuit. Say something, Wirandita.
Yeah. I would like to asking the perceived from Mr. Islam. Yes.
Okay. Your opinion, huh?
Yes.
Countries. So in a simple trade relation, what does it mean? Simple trade relations, in one way, Turkey has some kind of production. So let's say like Turkey want to export these things, and Turkey has some trying to get some balanced relations with West and East. So by emphasizing or by taking this kind of initiative, let's say the Asia Anew, Turkey want to make, let's say like may have a good relations with Asian countries in terms of trade, in terms of academics, in terms of research, in terms of, let's say like the projects, or we can say like the projects, let's say like even also in terms of diplomatic cooperation and political leaders to leaders cooperation. So I mean, by taking this kind of initiative, it gives much more floor or much more weapons and doors to open much more business with the particular countries. And apart from the business, trade, or economic things, Turkey want to make their soft relations. For example, if you look, I mean, I believe even also in Indonesia, many fans are really love or soft relations between two countries. And as I said, like in a defense things was based on defense relations. So it is also very clear, like Turkey has a product, Turkey is producing something, so Turkey need a partners, Turkey need to sell it, Turkey need to have a trustable partners, because Turkey do not want to give their most sophisticated, let's say, the drones to be directed to. So Turkey do not want to give this products to everyone. Turkey want to give these products to their more and most trustable friends. So that's the way Turkey want to find out the trustable friends, let's say, from the Asia. And that's the way Turkey is making their foreign policy, especially in the context of the Asian countries.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think I have to ask one more question from myself. I think it has not asked by the student. I'm asking about the CAATSA Act from the US. So how do you handle the what you call is like how do you handle the problem or the challenges from the Western, the pressure from the Western about this, and also especially I'm asking about the CAATSA Act, which not allow another country by defense armed forces, yeah, I mean defense industry from beside America. Okay, what is your opinion?
Yeah, here, one thing, I mean, of course, when we are saying these things like one country to other countries, like one by one, it is really difficult from Turkey to make really effective findouts, or we can say effective fruits by making a good negotiation with US. But you know, there is a many issues ongoing in the region, like say like now issue related to the Ukraine and Russia war. Before Ukraine, Russia, it was COVID-19, and before COVID-19, it was like some non-state terror groups, like say ISIS, Daesh. So it means like there are many issues for our countries to come up and to talk with other countries. And Turkey is taking the advantage of those kind of, you know, the problems or any kind of conflict. So now come up with the CAATSA. I mean, the CAATSA, what US is trying to do is very common for every country. I mean, if USA thinks that okay, these countries' defense is great for my country's defense or my country's security, then they are using this kind of act like CAATSA Act. They are making sanctions secretly, or they are making an embargo or so-called, I mean, those kind of things. So Turkey is already getting some secret or close embargo or sanction from the US since we can say the many years, even especially when Turkey was involved with the Syrian war in 2016, when Turkey sent their soldiers, USA directly give some sort of embargo or some sort of sanction on Turkey. So now come up to the Turkey's defense industry. Now, if we take an example like case study of the Turkish drone, most of the, even recently, let's say like the last 2 weeks, trying to make, especially the Bayraktar defense industry, they are trying to make a new drones. It's named Kizil Elma. It's a much more effective, much more, we can say capable rather than TBT-2, even also rather than the other drones like Ankara, Akinci. So, how Turkey did it, even Turkey has some kind of embargo and sanction on or by US. The first thing, the most of the parts, we can say most, or you can say the 98%, I'm sorry. So 98% of the parts of that drones, it's actually produced or from Turkey. So Turkey do not need to buy those kind of products from the Western countries or from the USA or from the US's allied countries. And that gives the huge opportunity or huge, let's say like the huge floor for Turkey to make this kind of, let's say, artillery, tanks, weapons, or those kind of things. And also like Turkey is trying to do it because in the end of the day, for example, US is applying their sanction on Turkey, US's national interest. But let's say like Turkey is trying to find out the other partners. Maybe USA do not want to sell their products to Turkey, or maybe they somehow want to manage to their partners. You also do not want to, let's say the France or maybe Germany, they also say them, no, you cannot also sell your, or let's say products to Turkey or products to the defense products to Turkey. But somehow there is many countries. I mean, it's not about that USA or UK or let's say Germany or France. There are many countries, they have many kind of spare parts of the defense products. So Turkey somehow managed to buy those kind of extra parts from other countries. And as I said, that most of the parts that till now, I mean, space sector or maybe in a drone sector or maybe other artillery things or weapons or also tanks, it is actually we can say the homemade products. I mean, it is produced in Türkiye and it is made by the Turkish engineers and it is made by the like even also the engines, motors. Most of the we can say there is a homemade product taking from other countries. And in that way, they can just okay, the CARSA you can apply your sanction, but it will not affect us because we have our.
I think I have to give you applause for that. Okay, thank you very much. This discussion is very interesting. So I think students still have some more questions, but our time is limited. So I have to say, I have to conclude. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we have we come up to the end of this meeting by concluding that the point of the conclusion is that Turkey developed Asia Anew Initiative as a new holistic approach toward Asia in the diverse set of areas: trade, defense industry, technology, and culture. So this new initiative is expected to contribute to the sustainability of Turkey development. And the four main pillars of Turkey Asia as a new initiative are improvement or in interstate relation, and then trade capacity, academic cooperation, and also interaction between societies. So despite being surrounded by the threats, Turkey has capability to develop defense industry and technology, even export weapons to ASEAN or Indo-Pacific countries. So I see that Turkey also, you also told us about the opportunity that in the Navy, Air Force, and the land as well, that in the land, Turkey launched mass production of a service unmanned ground vehicle. It's very, I think it's so modern, yeah. And then in the Air Force, you also successful develop aerial defense technology to face more complex. You say that by 2024, you have a lunar gateway. It's very nice to know about that. And then from the Navy, Turkey developed Blue Homeland. That yesterday also we talked about that. To develop its naval to ensure the Republic's trade and remain the defense and security at the sea. And then the challenges, then your challenges is shifting and pressure from Western. We have already talked just recently from Western power, US, NATO allies, and could hamper Turkey's ability to expand defense cooperation with Asian partners. And then limited financial and institutional capacity and spare part dependency and long-term sustainability. I think this is the conclusion for your presentation. I think I have to give you more applause. Please, student, applause for the presenter, Dr. Islam. Okay, finally, we are at the final discussion. I would like to send big gratitude to the speaker, Dr. Nazmul